Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Guys That Magic. It's spoiler season, March of the Machines. Today is Monday, April 3rd. We're joined by David and Shane. Say what's up, guys.
What's up?
What's up, nerds?
Well, let's go ahead and get straight into it. First up, we have Sunfall. 3 colorless and 2 white for a sorcery. It states, exile all creatures, incubate X, where X is the number of creatures exiled this way. In case you forgot what incubate is, it is create an incubator token with X +1/+1 counters on it, and then you can pay 2 and you can transform that artifact. It transforms into a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact creature. What do you guys think?
Seems like good removal. It reminds me of that. Okay, not as good as the White Sun's Twilight that Hunter killed me with, but I like board wipes that leave you with creatures. That's always fun.
I think this might be better than White Sun's Twilight.
Go ahead.
I feel like these are very different cards. So Sunfall and White Sun's Twilight, I think, are supposed to slot into different decks.
Yeah.
Because, like, this one does leave you with a token, but it's only going to leave you with one token, whereas the other one is going to be pumping out an army for you.
Yeah, an army that you have to pay into, so it's just dependent on how much you're paying into it. Whereas this is more if like you're playing against a bunch of people with a bunch of tokens on the field, or if you're playing against some, just a fucking aggressive deck with a bunch of creatures.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna leave you with one unless you're exiling one, right, Dave?
Well, no, you're only going to get one token out of this.
Oh, it could be a big token though, right?
Yeah, so this one is like it's going to give you a creature, but I mean the creature could be a big creature. What I do like about this card though is that it exiles all creatures, so it's not a destroy effect.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yes, I mean that's white doing white things, exiling all day, every day. But at the end of the day, you know what they say. Let's move on to the next one.
That almost rhymed.
I know I tried very hard. I couldn't think of anything last second. But our next card will be Glistening Dawn. It is 2 colorless and 2 green for another sorcery. It states incubate X twice, where X is the number of lands you control.
I don't know if I'm actually high on these incubate cards because like on their own they really don't do anything. These are 2 tokens that you have to essentially dump an additional 2 mana in, so 4 mana in for them to do anything.
Yeah.
This is at minimum it's going to be a 6 mana card unless you have some other way to transform them.
I mean, so technically this would be what? So you'd have 2 4/4s on turn 4? Well, I mean, technically turn 6 if you're on curve.
I mean, okay, so assuming that you cast this thing on turn 4, yeah, turn 5 you could dump it and get your tokens and get your 2 4/4s. This is a really expensive card. I feel like this is probably going to be really solid and like limited, where the games are going to go on for forever, and you do need kind of that big smashy thing later on. Plus, you're
Yeah.
going to have the mana to be able to pull this off. These kind of effects just it seems a little too slow for standard and not impactful enough in other formats.
I mean, I will agree as well, but at the same time, I do feel like this will slot into some fun standard decks. I mean, at the end of the day, never mind. Standard, I don't ever think I really see a bunch of standard decks running a shit ton of fucking mana. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Although, I mean, it'll still be fun. I think having 2 4/4s, if you're on curve and you're casting this on turn 4, would be pretty fun. I kind of wish it gave you something else, like maybe trample as well, but, since we're in the green, but here we are. All right, on to Zephyr Singer. It is 2 colorless and 2 blue. It is a creature siren pirate. It has Convoke. It also has Flying and Vigilance. And states when Zephyr Singer enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on each creature that convoked it. Now that is cool.
I like that you're giving the creatures that's paying for it some kind of evasion. That's pretty cool.
I think this card is insane. Like in a limited environment, this card is nuts.
Oh, limited,
Give
yeah.
up to 4 of your creatures flying, and that's not in a turn. That's a counter. Plus, even on its own, like 4 mana for a 3/4 with flying and vigilance is really good for that rate. So I see this at minimum is probably giving flying to, I would imagine, at least 2 other creatures in most scenarios. This card is nuts. This is going to help you push past a board stall.
If you're talking about
this
limited,
is
it's
super
huge.
fantastic.
Even in standard, I can imagine this card being pretty solid. I don't know if it's going to get there, if a deck would exist for it. But yeah, this is 100% a limited bomb.
All right, I'm gonna be Hunter right now.
Please.
I hate this card.
No
And
way.
the reason why I hate it is because it's so good.
No,
Because
that's a basic.
when I play mono red mythic
Oh
and
god.
I have my Phoenix chick out, I don't want something blocking it. This ruins it for me. And that's what Hunter would think.
You think so? I think you would say something like, if you put this in a blue white. I mean, I don't play standard really. Put this in a blue white soldiers. Make all your soldiers flying.
Yeah, this is the top end of whatever deck you're gonna put it in
Yeah.
because you're gonna be able to just like fly overhead from there on.
I like it, and it has vigilance too. This is a good card.
Moving on to the next one, we have a Bloated Processor. It is 2 colorless and a black for a Phyrexian creature. It is a 3/2. It also has Sacrifice another Phyrexian, put a +1/+1 counter on Bloated Processor. When Bloated Processor dies, incubate X, where X is its power. Little sneaky slapper in here, yeah?
But I don't have
Okay.
a strong opinion on it.
I have a strong opinion.
Oh, well, then you go then, buddy.
Okay, it's not strong, but I mean, I do think this card's pretty decent. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 3-mana 3/2, not that great, but it is in black and it allows you to sacrifice things. I think from an EDH standpoint, it's really good. Plus, when it dies, you get to have another creature with as big as this is. For me, this is really cool because I think of Carrion Feeder, which is a single black mana for a 1/1, allows you to sack and then put a +1/+1 counter on it. But when it dies, it's just dead. Whereas this, you get something on the upside too.
I don't actually think this is anywhere near as good as Carrion Feeder because this is sacrifice another Phyrexian. It's not sacrifice another creature, so it's
Right.
much more limited in what it can target. This is 3 mana for a creature that's going to replace itself whenever it dies, which is still really good. I don't think that it's quite on the same level. Plus, it's a lot more expensive.
I mean, I think these next couple sets are going to bring us a lot of Phyrexians, so like it's got that going for it. But that's
Yeah, and I think that's my point. I'm not saying I'd say it's kind of like Phyrexian, or not Phyrexian. I'm saying it's kind of like Carrion Feeder. Although, yes, you do have to sacrifice a Phyrexian. I do think that when we see spoilers like this, it's leading to things where we're going to get those kinds of cards. Now, granted, are they going to be as good and worth putting into a deck is another story.
I mean, if you want to build like a Phyrexian Travel in Standard, I think this would 100% slot in because your opponent uses any kind of removal, you sacrifice what they were going to kill, and you make this thing bigger, and then it'll replace itself later on. But I don't. I actually don't know if this will survive any other environment. I think that Standard, if this is going to see play Standard, will probably be just about it.
Moving on to Nahiri's Warcraft. It is 1 colorless and 2 red for a sorcery. It states when Nahiri's Warcraft deals 5 damage to target creature, planeswalker, or battle, look at the top X cards of your library where X is the excess damage dealt this way. You may exile one of those cards, put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. You may play the exiled card until end of turn. I like it.
I don't.
I knew you wouldn't. Listen, I think any chance we're gonna find to have cards that deal damage to battles without us having to attack and opponents can't defend, I think we're gonna have some fun. And this has that upside where we can go ahead and just look at the top X cards of our library depending on what that battle's at. I think that's pretty strong.
If you're using it specifically for that, I think it's fine. My gripe with this card is that it wants to kind of do 2 different things, and I don't actually think it does either one very well. For the removal aspect, if I'm using this up against like an enemy creature, 3 mana at sorcery speed is a lot for me to invest. It is going to take up a slot on my deck, and there's just going to be better removal that I would rather be playing. Same thing for like the card filtering or the card advantage that this card is going to be able to offer us is like, do I really want to use this for that? I don't know. I feel like it's trying to go in 2 different directions, and it's not really excelling in either of them. It's flexible, but at 3 mana, I'm a little turned off by it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I get
I
Steven's point though. I
kind
get
of
your point,
agree.
Steven. You want to be able to deal
Yeah, I
damage to
kind of
battles
agree.
now, and the more times we see it on a card, that's good for at least this set, because battles are going to be rampant, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, dude. With the battles we've seen so far, I think being able to damage anything is going to be pretty strong here. But I do see both of your points. I think that it doesn't really do anything too well, but yeah. Well, hey, guess what, guys? It is a battle card that we get to talk about now. It is Invasion of Gobakhan. It is a battle siege, and it is 1 colorless and a white. It has when Invasion of Gobakhan enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. A spell cast this way costs 2 more to cast. It also has 3 defense counters. After those counters are destroyed, it turns into Lightshield Array. It's an enchantment. And that has, at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that attacked this turn. You can also sacrifice it, and then creatures you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. That is pretty cool for 2 mana.
Both sides are pretty cool, I think, for 2 mana. Honestly, that front side, we've seen that ability on multiple cards now in Standard. And they've always been played and always been good, so I'm imagining this one's going to get played as well.
Those kinds of effects are typically stapled onto a creature, though.
Correct. And then this one flips into an enchantment, you're right. But,
So,
maybe.
yeah, so like comparing this to something like Elite Spellbinder, it's difficult for me because this does not provide the body. So like not only are you going to be able to disrupt, but you're also going to potentially like build up to your board state, which this card is not doing. I like the disruption and I like this card. Just battles in general, I feel like are really difficult for me to gauge because how much does this effectively slow my opponent down? And how much is this helping me to really like be able to flip this thing?
Moving on to the next battle, Invasion of Theros. 2 colorless and a white for a battle siege. It has, when Invasion of Theros enters the battlefield, search your library for an aura, god, or demigod card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. 4 defense counters on this one. Once those are gone, it'll flip into Ephara, Ever Sheltering. This is a legendary enchantment creature god. Ephara, Ever Sheltering has lifelink and indestructible as long as you control at least 3 other enchantments. Whenever another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. It is also a super thick 4/4.
That seems like a good card to go. You can go and search for something, right? Good tutor.
I mean, dude, this slots into my Go Shintai deck any day of the week.
Do you care about the backside, though? Do you care about killing this?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you mean? Do I care about the backside?
Hey, man.
This is a 4/4 that when
questions.
I'm just saying, man. Like a 4/4 that when I play it, I'll definitely have 3 or more other enchantments. So it's lifelink and indestructible, and it's a 4/4. And when I play more enchantments, I get to draw shit, dude.
Dude.
What
do you think, Dave?
I think it's okay.
All right, moving on to the next one.
Wait, did you not have anything else to say about it?
No, I'm sure he does. I'm just fucking around.
Okay.
The first part of this, the enter the battlefield effect on the battle itself really doesn't do anything for me. And I don't know. It's a 3 mana card that's going to like potentially set me up for later. I'm not really looking at most of these battles in an EDH perspective because I don't know. My mind just doesn't gravitate towards that. But from like a standard perspective, I can't imagine I'm just going to be able to sit back and burn 3 mana to do kind of nothing. And that's what this card does. And then the back half is super cool once I've been able to set up and have a bunch of enchantments in place so that I can really like maximize that. I'm not high on this card.
Yeah, I guess I should have put a disclaimer on my love for this card. A disclaimer: this card sucks in standard. Great for EDH. It actually leads us into our next green battle, Invasion of Ixalan. It is a colorless and a green for another battle siege. Whenever Invasion of Ixalan enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This has 4 defense counters. Once those are gone, it flips into Belligerent Regisaur. It is a creature dinosaur. This is a 4/3 with trample. It also has, whenever you cast a spell, Belligerent Regisaur gains indestructible until end of turn.
I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on this card one way or another.
All right. Okay, I'll be Hunter again because he plays dinosaurs.
Okay.
Dude, this totally slots into my dinosaur deck.
That's all he's gonna say.
I don't know. This is I think I actually prefer this one over the last card that we talked about. It costs less. It's still like the battle is still going to be like a replacement effect. So you're still going to just be replacing this card with, in this case, the best of the top 5 cards of your library. There is a whiff potential here, which I'm not a fan of. However, looking 5 deep, you should be able to hit something. The backside of the card is neat, but I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about these battle cards. This is really something that I feel like I'm going to have to play around with. They could be really powerful. They can also be complete duds. And I just don't like taking a turn to do nothing And if I'm casting this on curve, I'm kind of taking a turn to do nothing.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
I will agree and disagree. At the end of the day, I do feel like your point is valid about not doing something, but anytime I can pay 2 mana to possibly at least make sure I'm hitting my next land drop, and if I am whiffing, then I'm kind of happy that I got everything out of the top 5 of my library that I didn't need.
I mean, my counter argument there, Bang, is that this is a card in your deck. This had to have been good enough to replace another card. What did this replace?
A land card,
The land you were looking for with this card?
100%. When in
Wait.
doubt, remove your lands.
Okay. That's hashtag Steven's fucking idea.
Hot take.
We're going to put that on a play map.
I love it.
When in doubt, remove your lands. Little do they know I'm not talking about land destruction.
Oh.
No, I mean, like I said, I mean, this for me is a fun card just because I like 2 mana spells that get to like filter through your deck a little bit. I think the front side is a little bit better for me. I'm not a massive fan of the back side. I like the fact that it's a 4/3 with trample. Casting a spell, gaining indestructible is pretty fun too. That's fine, but like I really do like the front side more than I do the back. Speaking of the front side, we got Djeru and Hazoret. It is 2 colorless, 2 red, and a white for a legendary creature, human god. It's a 5/4, and as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, Djeru and Hazoret has vigilance and haste. And then whenever it attacks, you can look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may exile a legendary creature card from among them, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and then until end of turn, you may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. David, free spells?
Oh, dude, I love this.
Dude, free spells.
I mean, free restricted spells. You're going to be playing this with a deck that has to have that critical number of legendary creatures, but you're getting something into play for free. It's providing you some additional advantage. And at the very bare minimum, like, this is a 5/4 for 5 mana with potential upside. I mean, the haste portion of this, I don't think is actually going to be super relevant. Chances are you're probably still going to have other cards in your hand. But I do like how eventually, if you do end up getting Heck Bent or Hell Bent, this card does have vigilance, so it will like serve as an additional protector for you too.
Did you just say heck bent?
Yeah.
All right.
That's whenever you have, what is it, 1 or fewer cards in hand? So out of curiosity, do you think in terms of power level, this is good enough to make it in standard?
I think this could definitely go into a standard deck. The heck bent or hell bent you were referring to, I think is a little easier than you're leading on to. Is that the right way to say that? I think you can
Yeah.
definitely dump your hand by turn 5 in a red deck or a red white deck or like the yeah. This could be pretty mean, dude.
I think this will see play in standard. I don't think it'll be a top tier deck.
Hunter will
You
play
know,
it.
maybe you run this with Invasion of Theros so you can go find this card.
Hey, look at that. It's a god.
It is a god. Speaking of gods backwards, we have a fun one here. David, I just want to say I'm sorry ahead of time, but we have Kroxa and Kunoros. 3 colorless, a red, a white, and a black for a legendary creature, Elder Giant Dog. It has Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink. Whenever Kroxa and Kunoros enter the battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is a beefy 6/6.
This could be fun to build around, dude.
David kind of, when this was spoiled earlier, David kind of put a little fun mechanic with, what was it, David?
Yeah, I can't take credit for that one. Somebody did point out that Altar of Dementia and this card do combo off with each other. Because of the way that this card is worded, he can actually target itself. So you sacrifice it with its ability on the stack to Altar of Dementia. It'll cause you to mill 6 cards, and then you exile 5 of the 6 to bring him back. You can repeat that and essentially mill out your entire deck. You're going to exile a lot of the cards out of your graveyard, but if you are playing with a combo-centric build, I mean, you're going to be able to find your combo pieces and throw at least one of them directly into play.
What if I'm not playing a combo deck? Can I still have fun with this
What
deck?
are you doing with your life, dude?
I'm just playing good old fair magic, dude.
No one plays fair magic.
I think it's still fun.
Yeah, at the very bare minimum with this, I mean, it is a huge threat. It's a massive beater. It's got keyword soup on it, like many other partner cards. And then on top of that, like, this thing is going to be such a mid-rangey beast because of that card advantage. You're going to be able to get back the best threat that you have in the graveyard. And it may not necessarily even like be a ton of stuff that you can recur, but even if you're just bringing back like 1 or 2 creatures over the course of the game, that's still added value.
Hey, I got a hot take for you, Dave.
What's up?
And tell me that you can just tell me I'm wrong. Is this kind of like a bigger, more expensive Kalia a little bit, where you're getting things for free?
I don't think so,
No?
because
No.
Kalia is going to be able to continuously dump stuff every turn, and I don't think Kroxa and Kunoros are going to be able to. That exiling out 5 cards from your graveyard is a pretty significant cost. But I mean, you're playing in Mardu colors. That does mean that you have access to some really good self-mill or sacrifice
Right,
themes.
right.
So I think this card still definitely can get there. I'm more excited for this from an EDH perspective than what I am for standard.
Me too.
If you open this card in draft or in like your pre-release, this thing is a powerhouse.
This is a bomb, dude.
Menace.
Yeah, it's always going to be able to get in for damage. It's going to gain you a ton of life, and with the vigilance on this, it's sitting around for block duty too.
All right, once per video, I do have to have a hunter moment. When the invasion tree reached the underworld, it found only teeth and fury. Pretty good one. I like that
You've had
line.
many hunter moments this video, but it's okay.
I mean, but like Hunter's thing is like reading the
Oh,
flavor
got it,
text.
got
You
it,
know?
got it, got
That's
it.
like his thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Let's look at the front and back of this one. We have Rona, Herald of Invasion, for 1 colorless and a blue. This is a legendary creature, human wizard. So 1/3. And whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona, Herald of Invasion. You can also tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. You can also pay 5 2 life, which is black Phyrexian mana. Transform Rona, activate only as a sorcery. That's pretty steep. But it does flip into Rona, Tolarian Obliterator. It's an aggressive name. For a legendary creature Phyrexian wizard, it's a 5/5 with trample. It states whenever a source deals damage to Rona, Tolarian Obliterator, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, you may cast it without paying its mana cost.
Whoa.
This card is cool. Shane, look behind her.
Hey, that's a Phyrexian symbol. Does that mean she's bad?
Yeah.
Look at her staff too, dude. Her staff's kind of
Ugh.
Phyrexian.
She's not great.
Hey, I think this card is really cool, and I'm already gonna ask somebody here to help me build the deck with this. Okay, thank you. Got it.
Shane,
Yeah,
I would
no worries.
love to help you build this deck because obviously you were talking to me.
Ooh, that's awkward. But Steven, I'll just say this card is insane. Well, I like the fact that you can loot with this card and then play a legendary spell and untap her. That's always a cool thing. Like that's amazing. And the back
Cool.
half's
It's
insane.
legendary spell.
Oh, true.
So like not even necessarily a legendary creature, a legendary sorcery or a legendary artifact will trigger that as well.
Yeah, I just really hate that this is blue. I automatically when I saw this, I was like, cool, another dramatic reversal Ixalan Scepter deck. Sweet.
I mean, you don't have to play that way, Steven.
I want to.
Well, that sounds like a you problem. But see, you said
I
it's
mean,
expensive
yeah.
to transform her, but I think it's cool because then it keeps her like the her casting cost is super low, which I think that's relevant. I can play her the entire game when you guys kill her.
Yeah, also I think this is a massive deterrent for anyone to like come at you. Like if she's flipped, nobody's attacking you unless they exile this card.
I don't want to dive too much on the EDH, like
Okay.
her at the helm of a deck for
Okay.
the purposes of this video. But I mean, as far as like standard goes, I think she's really solid. And then limited, you're going to have the 5 mana and the 2 life or the 6 mana at some point in which that creature is pretty important. Like you're ripping something from your opponent, you're potentially stealing it, and then it's a 5/5 with trample too. So like it's going to push in for damage.
I'm a big fan of this card.
It's going to be a good card in standard. I know people will play it because of how nutso this card is and can be. I just think this is super, like, I mean, obviously you're playing blue, so you have some counters, but like with 4 ofs of destroy target creature and a shit ton of decks, I think that, especially with it being a 1/3 in a mono red deck, this is boom, lightning strike, call it a day, you know?
Yeah.
But something lightning strike can't hit. Rampaging Raptor is up next. 2 colorless and 2 red. This is a creature dinosaur. It's a 4/4. It's got trample and haste, which is always fun. And then for 2 colorless and a red, Rampaging Raptor gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It also has, whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls or battle that player protects. Shane, you
That's
had some
cool.
pretty interesting opinions on this card.
Did I? Oh,
Did
you
you
put
not
me on.
say something about this in the chat?
That was me.
I was gonna say, you put me on the spot. It's cool, Steven.
Dude, this is Questing Raptor. It's Questing Beast, but red. It's got
Oh.
it's
God
got
damn it, it is.
it's got a couple different lines of text. It absolutely hates planeswalkers. And yeah, if you're playing with battles, I think this is probably going to be an auto-include as a 4 of, because it's probably just going to be able to flip them immediately.
That's sick. It's
Like,
got an expensive fire breathing effect, dude.
I mean, yeah, it is, but it's still 4 mana for a 4/4 with trample and haste, and
Yeah.
like they can't let this thing hit if you have a battle in play or if they have a planeswalker in play.
Yep, I agree.
Can I be Hunter?
amazing.
Can I be Hunter again real quick?
You of course you can.
Dude, this is gonna slot right into my dinosaur deck.
You just gonna say that whenever a dinosaur comes up?
No?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You should though.
Lastly, let's move on to probably one of the best cards I've seen in a long time. Urabrask. 2 colorless and 2 red, because why not? This had to be a cheaper spell for some reason. It is a legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor. It is a 4/4 with first strike. It also has, when you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urabrask deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add 1 red. You can pay a red, exile Urabrask, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery and only if you've cast 3 or more instant or sorcery spells this turn. Once this bad boy comes back flipped, it turns into the Great Work. It is a saga. First chapter will be the Great Work deals 3 damage to target opponent and each creature they control. The second chapter is create 3 treasure tokens. And the third and final chapter is until end of turn you may cast instant and sorcery spells from any graveyard. If a spell cast this way would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. Then you exile the Great Work, return it to the battlefield, flipped back. Wow.
Wow, 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 wee wow.
If you like your cards to do things, this does a fucking ton.
I hate when my cards do things, David.
Ah, well,
Sounds
this
a train make.
obviously-
Wah wah. This is insane for standard. Can I just say that?
I think this is insane for more than just standard.
Oh,
I
know.
definitely want to play this in standard, and I think that this probably has legs in other formats too.
This is a 4 of in Hunter's dumb red deck.
Can I be Hunter real quick?
It's not a dinosaur, but you can.
Hey guys, this is gonna slot into a lot of my decks.
So 2 very important things to kind of notice about this card as well. First off, the third mode on that saga there, it says you could cast the instant and sorcery spells from any graveyards, and actually not just yours. You can cast your opponent's things too. And then the other really cool thing is, after the third saga, he's actually going to flip back to Urabrask, the front half, and that third mode is going to continue until end of turn. So any instant or sorcery spells that you cast from graveyards, including your opponents, will actually still add you red mana and hurt your opponents just from casting them.
Dude, this is insane. Why'd they make it so good?
It's Urabrask, dude. Doesn't
And-
he die? Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler.
All of them do.
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
I mean, dude, I wasn't that caught up.
You know what I'm gonna say that I hate about this card?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Why the Great Work? What a terrible name.
Oh, it's very majestic.
It's their like ideology. It's a representation of like their perfect version of Phyrexia. It is his great work.
Yeah, like he's well, wait. Is he complete?
Say it. Say it.
I was like, is he complete? I don't know.
He's a predator.
So yeah, he's complete and shit. I don't know
I
the
know.
lore like
I
you,
just-
David. I'm sorry.
Of course he's complete. He's like one of the big 5 for the Phyrexians.
Right. So he's like the completer, completing completes.
I mean, yeah, I think this card comes down to what we always talk about at the, good card, good.
Good card is good. I'm glad we actually talked
Good
about it.
card
for a
is
minute.
good.
Typically, when a good card is good, we just go, good card's good, and then next. But this card is really good.
Yeah, really, really good card, really good.
This is one of those cards that actually makes me want to build a standard deck around this. So like for
Oh.
example, we got the Phoenix deck the other day. or the Phoenix deck. We got the Phoenix card the other day that can be like brought back from the graveyard.
Yeah.
So playing with something like Tormenting Voice and maybe some of the other like looting style effects and dumping cards into the graveyard, and then just like going crazy with this. Hopefully being able to make a ton of mana, cast a ton of instants and sorceries, bounce those creatures back. Like, I don't know. This is 100% up my alley as far as like deck building, and it gets my wheels turning.
Hey, but it's really strong, David. So you better be careful.
Oh no, this card is nuts.
Sorry, you guys were talking about standard. I threw up a little bit. Yeah, guys. So before we end the video, what was the favorite and why is it Urabrask?
We can all just say Urabrask, right? Well,
I'm
I'll say
actually going to
Kroxa.
change mine. I'm going to change mine. So Urabrask is too good for us to pick.
Yeah, you're right.
So Shane, you're going Kroxa here?
Yeah, I'm going Kroxa Kunoros.
All right, I'm actually going to go, and I know this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but I'm going to go Zephyr Singer.
Oh.
Yeah, that Convoke, give some creatures flying is pretty cool.
I really don't like going last year because I feel obligated that I have to pick something else. But Marty was one of my favorite color combinations. I've really been looking forward to Kroxa and Kunoros. Not quite what I was hoping for the effect, but still tons of fun. So I'm going to stick with that and, I don't know, probably build a deck around him.
David, you know what? I'll do the honors. I'm going to pick Rona. I think that card's nuts, and I can't wait to play her.
Well, if you like this video, please make sure that you also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on our other social media platforms. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and we are also on Twitter at GuysHitMagic. And as always, we love and appreciate all the support. Make sure that you leave a couple comments down below. We want to know what your favorite card was today, or what kind of opinions do you have about some of the cards that we discussed that maybe differ from us a little bit. Until next time, this has been Guys at Magic. Peace.
See you later.
Bye-bye.